Hey everyone, Steve Worth, I'm planning department staff. My job is to condense 400, or 7 years worth of work into 400 seconds, so let's go. Let's start with the beginning. Why are we even doing the Central SoMa plan? Because if you probably noticed and heard today, San Francisco is suffering from economic obesity, right? And it's really, really intense on all of us. It's nobody's fault. We're blessed with this amazing city that people want to come to and is job rich, and people love it so much they always vote against changing it, right? But culture doesn't come up for vote. And so what happens is, you know, we keep the city as it is, the demand is exogenous, and the price goes up and up and up, and that's where we are today. So Central SoMa, of course, is here to help. Here's a map of the planned area: 2nd Street, 6th Street, Townsend Street, blah, blah, blah. The middle line is, you'll notice, is the Central Subway. It's the first new subway we built in decades. It's a $2 billion investment in the area. It's going to connect all the way from Chinatown to the Bayview, and connect Caltrain to BART, and obviously this makes it a reasonable place to add growth. Before I go into the plan details, I just want to thank the thousands of people who've been involved in the plan over the many years. I see some of you here today. Our plan is really trying to reflect back what we've heard from all these people. What we heard again and again is people really wanted a lasting neighborhood, something that was sustainable economically, environmentally, and socially. And they really want to keep what's great about the neighborhood. The people are there today, and you know, the jobs that they have, and of course the unique mix of buildings and activities in the area. And also want to fix what's not great, which includes the streets are terrible, there's like barely a blade of grass in the neighborhood, everyone feels like at risk, their jobs and housing, etc. So our job is to accommodate demands, one of the 3 things I'll talk about. Here's how we're going to do it. On the left, all the area in white doesn't allow any development at all, it's industrially protected. Remove that industrially protective zoning. And then increase heights, particularly in the area adjacent to downtown in Rincon Hill, and the area next to Caltrain, and mostly the 5th and Brent intersection. So here's what that might look like. In blue is the area outside of Central SoMa. In yellow is the area within Central SoMa. And you can see there's a lot of development potential in the area. It's relatively modest compared to downtown. We don't have a lot of towers. There's about 60 million square feet of development we can get, which legitimately is evenly balanced in square footage between jobs and housing. But lo and behold, jobs are much denser than housing, and so you get a lot more jobs. And you know, a lot of people, you know, Central SoMa was an island nation. This would be a terrible jobs housing balance, but it's not, by the way. And so here's why we think jobs would be really good to have in this location. The jobs are coming, you may have noticed. And so if we don't put a place for them, they're just going to continue displacing the jobs we have and causing economic gentrification. If you care about climate change or just your commute, it's really good to put jobs on top of transit. And by the way, if you look at this map, Central SoMa is like one of the only places in the city to plan for jobs. This is the zoning. And on the left, we should and can and will continue to plan and build housing in the rest of the city. So that's the first strategy, accommodating housing. Let's talk about providing public benefits. If the federal government gave a crap about the cities, we wouldn't have to raise all this money, but basically it doesn't. So we have to put exactions on new development to pay for public benefits. And here's our Goldilocks strategy. If you make exactions too low, lots of development, no public benefits. If you make exactions too high, no development, no public benefits. If you make it just right, you have a really lovely porridge of public benefits. If you get $500 million without the plan, with the plan, $2.1 billion of benefits, that's a lot more, plus $1 billion that would go to the general fund in additional money. And you know, that's kind of an unprecedented amount of money, which is a reason some people tend to like this plan. So what are you going to get specifically? Tons of affordable housing. If you're into dollars, it's nearly $1 billion. If you're a percentage person, it breaks the 33% barrier, magical barrier for low and moderate income housing. If you're into sheer volume, it's over about 3,000 units of affordable housing in SoMa over the next 25 years. If you're moving to transit, we have $500 million still for transit. 2/3 of that goes to Muni, 1/3 of that goes to regional providers. The money that goes to Muni will be for Muni to do, you know, Muni things. The regional stuff will be to BART, to Caltrain, maybe to work on both of the stations, BART, the Powell Street, for example, and Caltrain, and also to put some money towards the study of the 2nd transit crossing. In terms of parks, I mean, Central Deed 6 is like 1/10 of the open space of the rest of the districts in the neighborhood. So this is really trying to infuse the neighborhood with tons of new parks. Rehabilitate the ones we have, Gene Friend, Victoria Manuel Dreves, and build new parks and rec centers and skate parks and dog ramps and whatever else you have. We need to have a good time. In terms of PDR, we have a no net loss Pdr policy, so even though we're removing industrial protective zoning, we're going to keep the PDR jobs by basically requiring that you replace the PDR jobs, and if you're building something new, having a new one. So here's, for example, a non-controversial project, Flower Mart, where basically we're saying, okay, you can have one today, and you have to basically build a new Flower Mart in the future. In terms of the streets in SoMa suck, right? I mean, they're designed for cars to whoosh through and trucks as fast as possible. That's the condition today. When we're done, we're going to have wider sidewalks, and we're going to have protected bike lanes and tons of mid-block crossings and all kinds of things that will make it, not suck unless you start driving really fast through SoMa. In terms of cultural, in terms of what doesn't suck, we have an amazing culture in the neighborhood, both tangibly and intangibly. Here's the old neighborhood. We're going to throw some money at that. We're going to allow historic buildings to sell their development potential, development rights. We're going to put a lot of money towards the neighborhood, including funding in perpetuity the SoMa Stabilization Fund, which funds arts programs and job training and tenant protection services and all kinds of good stuff. The environment right now in the neighborhood is not so hot. We're really excited to be proactively working to enhance the environment. We're going to require green roofs, for example. We still have a water recycling policy. We're going to require buildings to have 100% greenhouse gas-free electricity. So maybe one day there'll be like a bird or a butterfly in SoMa. Amazing. We have a bunch of money for the kids. Love them. The one thing I'm most proud of is Betsy Carmichael is the only public school in the Plan area, and it's 20% of the kids are from homeless families, 100% of the kids get free or subsidized lunch, and we're going to put some money towards them to provide extra mental health services and year-round programming. So here's the plan timeline. It's been a long time. I think we're almost done. We're at the Planning Commission next Thursday for adoption, so that's, I'll mark in 7 years. And then we'll go, the board will be there mid-June pending our CEQA appeal and occasional outbreak of politics that happens. And so that's basically it. It's been a fun and wild ride, and I'm looking forward to it.